Good evening to everyone. It is September the 24th. It is our last show with the Wiley Resource Center Legal Support Program for this quarter. We have a couple of very special guests with us on this evening. You know me, I am Melissa Williams, the Executive Director and Volunteer Attorney with the Wiley Resource Center. And we have our Outreach Specialist, Valerie Newsom, that you all have been hearing about for the past, since we started back in July. So we wanted to make sure we kept our promise and that we introduce you to Miss Val, right? So Miss Val, let's talk a little bit for a couple of minutes. Why is this bill so important to you? Why is House Bill 5723 so important? And why is it that you think that people should really be pushing to get this bill passed?
Well, the passing of House Bill 5723 would mean people like myself would get a chance to get a job, to get fair housing, to get back in school.
Okay. So Ms. Val, she is proudly a member of the ex-offender community, otherwise known as rehabilitated citizens. It's been years and years since Ms. Val successfully completed her sentence. So if you want to know what a success story looks like, Ms. Val is what a success story looks like. And there are so many of you that are out there, whether it be watching by television or watching by internet, you are a success story too, right? And that means that you deserve another chance and you deserve to be able to get on with your life for you, for the benefit of your family, as well as the community as a whole. One more quick question for Ms. Val. We just wanted to make sure we introduced you all to her. Ms. Val, tell us what you've been working on today in outreach.
We're having an event on September 26th, Wednesday, called A Time for Excellence. And it's geared towards ex-offenders. I have been out all day going to different places where ex-offenders are, and I've been getting 50, 60 phone calls today, people inquiring about it. It's an event that's going to show people that the rights that we have as ex-offenders.
Okay, so we're taking that X that people have on their backs, as we heard in one of Larry's events, right? And we're turning it into excellence. Right? And we're turning this not just into a moment, but into a movement. And with that said, we want to make sure that you all have the event information for Time for Excellence. It's going to be this Wednesday, September the 26th. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we're going to be at a community center called United for Better Living at 4540 West Washington Boulevard in Chicago. So as Ms. Val stated, this is an opportunity for you to know your rights and your resources dealing with housing, employment, and job opportunities overall. Magic. We got Larry back with us, one of our board members who's been a faithful co-host of our show throughout the past 12 weeks. If you have questions, we do want you to feel free to call in. It's a live show, so the number on your screen is right there, the 738-1060. Feel free to call in, and you want to do so either while Larry and I are talking. And we also have a special guest that's going to be calling in, a member of the Prison Review Board in the state of Illinois. And she will be talking with us about the clemency or the pardon process, right? We know about expungement. We've heard about sealing. And now tonight, in our final show, we're going to be talking about executive clemency or pardons. So, Larry, tell us why the Time of Excellence event, Larry actually named the event. So, why is the Time for Excellence so important? Why is this event so important?
Well, let me start off by reading. I actually came from one of your emails. I don't even know if you know Henry Ford quote. Because I like this,
it's my email.
It touched me, It's saying, coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. And to me, that defines what your question is about this event that's going to be on Wednesday. We've been working hard on the show for 12 weeks. You, yourself, been out canvassing, We've been doing emails, phone calls, trying to do everything that we can to mobilize people. And I think with this event, it's giving us another chance to come together and solidify some things that we know that needs to happen in our communities. We have to make sure that we work together, stick together, and make things happen. We cannot let other people who we don't know represent us. We have to represent ourselves. We have to come together and say what our problems are, get those issues out and get them resolved. So this event on Wednesday is going to be a big deal. We got LaShawn Ford. He's the state rep.
Sponsor of our bill.
Our sponsor of our bill. We got some members from the EEOC coming from DC, I believe. And again, we're going to have some talks about housing and just more information to give people to actually enable themselves to do some things out there. Besides, get out there and just talk about it. We're actually putting our feet to the streets, doing action. And I think that's a very important thing to do when you come here Wednesday. Bring some questions, like you're gonna have some call-ins tonight. Bring those questions so we can get those answers right then and there.
Absolutely. Larry brings up an important point. Talk tonight, Melissa. And that point is about the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or the EEOC. Initially, when the NAACP Criminal Justice Committee, which I chair, when we invited the EEOC, we thought we were going to get someone from a local office. Little did we know that the EEOC was going to take this so seriously that they're sending out a representative from Washington, D.C. Right? So we've talked about this on the show, right? About this recent ruling, right? Or they're bringing up this guidance or this ruling again. Right? And it says that it's no longer sufficient to just tell someone you're an ex-offender. My insurance rates will go up if I hire you. So no, I am not going to hire you. That is not sufficient. Right? That may be grounds for a discrimination lawsuit. Okay. Remember, we talked about this. The questions that must be asked are instead, what type of offense did the person commit? Is it related to the job that they are applying for? How long ago was that offense? Right? So those are the questions that employers need to be asking in order to make a determination about whether they're going to hire someone, rather than saying that they will not hire just because someone is an ex-offender. So the EEOC is going to be on site to explain this themselves directly to you. Right? So it will no longer be you getting information from us as a third party. You will be getting it directly from them. Another guest that we're going to have, Chris Wilmus. Okay. He's at a law firm now. He used to represent clients who were ex-offenders and who were being discriminated against through the Chicago Legal Clinic. He is going to be there to talk about lawsuits that can be filed on behalf of ex-offenders who have been discriminated against, right? And then we have a special treat. The City of Chicago Reentry Services, they will be on hand. And the gentleman who leads them is actually an ex-offender himself. So we will have some awesome guests at A Time for Excellence. We have a caller. Let's get our caller on board. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello? Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
All right.
Turn your TV down a little bit for us.
My name is Richard.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on.
Okay.
Hi, Richard.
Hey, how you doing, love? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm an ex-offender. I haven't been locked up in over 15 years.
Okay.
And I've been trying to get my papers expunged, and I just turned to this show here, by mistake, and I heard you talking about this here.
It was by
so
mistake.
I would like for y'all to help me if you could.
Okay. I want to tell you this. There are no mistakes, right? Everything happens. My pastor says nothing happens by luck, chance, or happenstance. Everything happens according to a plan. Right? So you're on this show. You're on this show tonight, and it's not an accident. And what we're going to do, and I apologize because we do have our guest that's calling in, but what we're going to do is show you the information for the Wiley Resource Center. If you call this number here, you will get information on how to come and visit with us so that we can help you out. Okay?
Okay, then that's good. Let me catch that.
Okay. All right. We'll talk to you later. Okay.
Right.
Good night. Okay, so we're going to leave that up there for just a couple more seconds. And we have a very special guest with us on tonight. We've talked a lot about expungements. We've talked about sealings, but there's that third portion talking about clemencies and pardons. And so we do have our very special guest on the line from the Illinois Prison Review Board, and we would like to welcome her. How are you on this evening?
Good evening, Melissa. This is Edith Krigler speaking.
Hi, how are you, Miss Krigler?
I'm doing very well.
We really appreciate you for joining us on the show. And we wanted to just kind of get a feel for the clemency process, kind of some of the things that the Prison Review Board looks at in considering clemencies. So we're just going to be quiet and we're just going to hear from you a little bit. And then we may interject some questions, and we have some callers that may have some questions as well.
Okay, well, first let me say that if anybody's really interested in seeing what the state of Illinois does regarding clemency, I would suggest they go to www.illinois.gov, Prison Review Board, and there's a whole page that gives an overview of what the parole board is about. It has a section on clemency and expungement, and it even has a site where you can hit to get the application to apply.
Okay, that's awesome.
Okay.
It's a fairly lengthy process, but I would recommend that anyone who wants to have their record filed for clemency to get their record sealed so they can get jobs. We found out that most of the people who have committed some crimes come to the review board seeking clemency because they want to get licensed to practice either social work, going to nursing, nurse's aid, or something along that line. And what we look for what people have done since they got off of probation. Personally, as a board member, I'm kind of reluctant to give someone who is still on probation clemency. We do not give clemency. We review the files. We make sure that they have made some monumental accomplishments since they've gotten off of parole or probation, and that they have some letters of support from reputable people like schools, pastors, friends of the family, ex-teachers, if they've done any community services or volunteerism in the community, something along that line to show that they really have changed their lives and they're doing something a little bit different.
Okay.
We do like to see at least 3 to 5 years since you have been incarcerated or you have gotten off of parole. It's a very lengthy and timely process. Our current governor, when he came on, he was still trying to get rid of the cases that our former governor hadn't even touched. There were over 2,600 cases that hadn't even been looked at. The parole board looks at these clemencies. We do the hearings. When you come to the hearings, it's also advantageous to bring a support system, someone who can speak on your behalf. Then we deliberate and we vote on them, and then we make our recommendation to the governor. The governor is the final vote, and it's up to him to decide whether he's going to grant clemency. We just recommend that we want to move it forward for his consideration. We do not grant clemency.
Okay. Now, we really appreciate you being honest, too. You know, a lot of times people feel like they finish serving their sentence and they're ready to move on and they want to go immediately into the process, right?
Yes.
But as Ms. Krigler is telling us on tonight, that is not the way that you want to approach the clemency process. You want to be able to establish a track record. And some of the things that she just mentioned, right? Volunteer service. What are you doing in the community? How have you changed, right?
Yes.
What jobs is it that you've had? What are you doing now that's different than what you were doing before? So there needs to be a time span, and she's being generous with it tonight. She's telling you, you know, you at least got to have 3 to 5 years in order to, you know, be considered seriously for clemency. Right?
Exactly.
So we want to make sure that you all that are listening to this program and watching this program are aware of that. The other thing that she brought out, and what we'll do, we'll flash our phone number up again on the screen, and we will give you the website. If you want the website that Ms. Krigler just gave to us a few moments ago so that you can go and pull down that clemency petition, look at it, see what's going to be asked of you in it, right? Begin to kind of piece some of those things together. If you want to start working on it, then she's given us the website, so we will share that with you, and we're going to flash that back up on the screen as well. Larry, did you have a question that you were thinking of? Anything for Ms. Krigler?
No, I don't want to start no problems. No, no. She's pretty much outlined everything that I was questioning. Again, I didn't know what the time frame again, if it was just like the ceiling time span. So she answered that question. So I guess the rest is up to me to go on the website.
Now, don't get me wrong. You can apply for clemency at any time, but to get adequate consideration, we do like to see that someone has truly made an effort to change their lives.
Right.
We do know that sometimes people get in trouble and have these bad things because of bad decisions, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and a sundry other things. They're not bad people. They just found themselves in a bad situation.
Right.
And that in order to show that you're making different decisions and you're living a different type of life, it behooves you to really have something behind you. Say, see what I've done for the last 3 years. I've gone back to school. I've gotten my associate's degree. Or I got a license to be a CNA. Or I'm getting ready to go into nursing school. And I want to be able to make sure when I sit for the license test that I can get a license.
Right.
Or I'm going to college and I'm getting my bachelor's, but I need a license to be a social worker. You can't get these licenses when you have a record.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so we want to see that you're doing something, not that I'm going to go to school one day.
Absolutely.
Or I wish I could get into school one day. It's all about setting some goals and preparing yourself to do something. Like we tell our young children, you just can't say, I want to think it's going to just instantaneously come to you. If you've made a mistake, you have to correct that mistake.
Absolutely.
And you have to show society that you are willing to do something better and do something different. And it's something called restorative justice. You give back to the community. When you've caused harm to your community, you need to be given back.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I heard you say getting letters of recommendation. Right?
Yes,
that's going to be something that's going to be important as well. We've helped some folks to work on their clemency petitions. And as Ms. Krigler said, letters from pastors and letters from maybe a supervisor, that you may be close to. We've even had some of the elected officials where folks have volunteered with their campaigns. They've given letters of recommendations. Community centers have given letters of recommendation, but you are going to need those letters. So if this is something that you're thinking about, she's giving you the pieces that you're going to have to include in your clemency petition. Now, if you all have questions about the clemency process, tonight's the night, right? She's on the phone with us, so you want to make sure that you call in with your questions, and we only have a few moments left. Let me ask you this, Ms. Krigler. Let's say that someone is denied clemency. And usually with the expungement and sealing, if the judge denies it, they can do a motion to reconsider, but it's kind of rough. But with dealing with the Prison Review Board and eventually the governor's office on a clemency petition, if they're denied, what should they do?
They can come back.
You can come back.
You can come back again. A denial doesn't mean that you can never come back again. Like when a person's on parole or comes up for parole, they may be denied the first time, but then once we see that they're rehabilitated and they come back again, we may grant parole.
Okay.
The door isn't shut. Again, I can't stress enough, it behooves you to bring your best self before the board.
So you want things that are completed. You don't want things in transition, like I'm in a training program. You want to be completed in the training program.
It's more advantageous for you to get consideration if you have completed it.
Okay.
Rather than saying, I'm going to or I'm currently in.
So you're hearing it directly from a representative of the Illinois Prison Review Board, right? She's saying if you're denied, that doesn't mean that you can't wait a year, right? And come back and reapply. Okay.
But it's such a laborious process. It would behoove you to wait till you had all your ducks in order before you would come, because then to have to go back and do it all over again. So rather than come piecemeal and not really accomplish or really ready to present your best self, it doesn't work. You can even have a counselor. Let's say someone has had a substance abuse problem, and they got locked up because of controlled substance or something like that, and now they've been clean. Maybe they have a counselor that really says that you have really done good. Bring your counselor with you.
Okay.
And have them speak on your behalf, you know?
And that is a great suggestion. That is a great suggestion. Ms. Krigler is telling us, she's reminding us with the clemency process, bring your support system with you.
Yes.
We have a caller, and let's get our caller on the air and let's see what their question is. Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
What's your question?
My question is, I was trying to get the telephone number from her for how you get clemency. That's what I was calling for.
Okay. We're going to flash back up on the screen.
Okay, I'm not in front of the screen. That's why I was calling.
Okay. Do you have your pen and paper to write it down?
Yes, ma'am. I got the pen and paper.
Okay. What you'll do, give us a call over at the Wiley Resource Center. Leave a message.
All that?
I'm sorry?
I got to call over to the Resource Center or to get the telephone. You said call in. I can get the number today.
Yeah,
right, we're gonna give you the web address, because what she gave wasn't a phone number, it was the web address so that you can pull down your clemency petition.
Okay then.
Okay, so let me give you the number. You leave a message on there with your information so that we can.
What's the number?
Okay, all right, give me a second. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's the Wiley Resource Center, just like up on your screen.
I see that.
And it's 773 738 1480.
1480.
Yep, got you.
Who I speak to you?
When you leave a message, either myself, Miss Val, or someone else from the staff will call you back.
Okay, how long will that take?
It'll probably be a day or two.
Oh, really? Okay, then bye.
All right, have a good one now. Okay. So we want to thank Ms. Krigler from the Prison Review Board for joining us on this evening and sharing with us, quite frankly, the information about clemency, right?
And one other thing I just want people to say, it's a lengthy process. Again, remember, our current governor is just now getting to petitions that from 208 and 209.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, here we are in 2012.
Yes.
And we have a clemency hearing that's coming up the second week in October here in Chicago. And those are probably 07 and 08 cases that are just now getting in front of us.
Oh, wow.
So it's really a lengthy process, and it's because of the backlog.
So people are going to have to remember to be patient.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Going to have to be patient.
And just because you file,
doesn't mean you're going to get it.
People may come before us in October, and that doesn't mean they're going to hear something by the end of the year.
Okay.
Because who knows when we make our recommendations, the board does, to the governor. The governor is the final one, and he may not even accept our recommendation, although we give him a reason why we've accepted to either grant clemency or not to, but he makes the decision, not us.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, we really appreciate you taking time out to join in with us on this evening. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
All right. Good luck to you. Keep up the good work.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Well, we have made it through our show on this evening, and this is our final show. But what we do want to do is we want to remind you all about a time for excellence. We want to remind you all to support the Illinois Sealing Bill that is currently House Bill 5723. We want to make sure that you come and get the information that you need about your rights and your resources for employment, housing, and job opportunities. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
All right now.